Ooh, I love trade rumors. And hey, this is NHL 25 gameplay in the background, or the game footage I just got. It's a pretty good game. Maybe I'll write a review on it. But anyways, getting into this trade rumor. So Frank Cervelli did go on the Fan 590, and he was alluding to the fact that, you know, Jeremy Swayman might be a fit for the Philadelphia Flyers. And I was thinking about it, and I was trying to go through it, and I think that to some degree it does make sense. Now, the latest that we're getting on Swayman, as I touched on in one of my last videos, is that he is considering requesting a trade. Now, when you consider requesting a trade, that doesn't necessarily mean that you will be traded. And yes, a lot of teams still have cap space, and yes, there's no movement and modified no trade clauses, and we'll go over all that for these situations. But it's not that you can't figure something out, and it's not that we haven't seen pretty decent trades, albeit in the lesser sense at the beginning of the season, but it does happen. So if you wanted the Flyers to get a goalie like this, now everybody doesn't want to give up any players. I doubt the Flyers would want to give up Mishkov or anything like that, and they would have to move some salary out. Now, I doubt they would want to move a player like a Konecki. I believe they just re-signed him, but they're going to have to move some salary out. So we don't exactly know what Swayman actually wants. I'm going to assume in this video that he wants something like $8 million. You know, 8 times 8, wink, wink. Let's say he wants $8 million. First off, do you guys think that that is fair? If he just gets $8 million, is that just like a fair number for him to get? I do think that's fair. I'm going to quickly go over why the positives and negatives of it. Like, I think that it potentially could be negative because we've never seen him play 60 games, but at the end of the day, when you have a talented goaltender like this, you're just gonna have to pay him. There's just no doubt about it. Like, you can't just not pay a guy like this. You know what I mean? When you have a goalie that is, especially when they let go of Ullmark too, remember that. So would a Swayman for possibly an Owen Tippett? Now, Owen Tippett is actually a pretty good player. If you look at his stats, he's been pretty darn talented for the Philadelphia Flyers, but he is making about $6 million, and the Flyers, according to Puckpedia, have about $2.1 million on their cap. You could absolutely see a situation where they could trade him plus a nice prospect. I don't know a prospect that Philadelphia would be willing to give up, though, right? Because they've amassed a pretty nice deep prospect pool, and you can jump in the comments and give me your opinion on what you think the prospect could be. I mean, I know that they might not let up one of their higher end guys, but when you have a situation like this, man, I'm telling you that, like, I think it's possible that Swayman actually gets traded. And the way that some insiders are talking, I think it's possible. You know, I don't know. Sometimes you get a sense from the way insiders are talking about this, and you think to yourself, nah, this could happen, man. He could get traded. Because, like, even, like, again, I always bring this back to the Leafs, but even in the Nylander negotiation, they weren't really necessarily getting unprofessional. This is wild. Like, I've never seen a president and GM, and then now it looks like the players dig in. Like, this is something that absolutely could happen. Not guaranteed, of course, but it could happen. And we have a player saying, I might want to move. And then what teams might make sense? We talked about the Red Wings. The Philadelphia Flyers have about 2.1, but then it's like, are they willing to give up the assets to acquire that player? I mean, Jeremy Swayman is a guy that's about a .915, .920 save percentage goalie. A lot of people say, well, he just plays in a very talented team, which is true. But, I mean, talented defensive team. Like, the Boston Bruins are very good defensively. They're very structured, and they play the right way, which is very important. Leafs. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. You're going to, getting a game-changing goalie can absolutely transform your franchise. And while the Philadelphia Flyers might not be the perfect team, this could be a perfect goalie. Like, Jeremy Swayman, let's remember, he's not necessarily an old player, right? He's only like 25 years old. I believe 25. I'll put the information up on the screen. Like, that's a goalie that's heading right into his prime. the only worry, if I was a Flyers fan, I might be worried about, his history of only playing about 40 games. He's never played like a full 60 games, right? And the Boston Bruins do have, according to Puckpedia, about $8 million on the cap. So if they were to trade, again, I'm just spitballing here, guys. I'm just trying to make the salaries work out. And Owen Tippett has a modified no trade clause, but I don't believe it kicks in. Anyways, I'll put the information up on the screen, but it doesn't kick in until like 2026 or something like that. So they could definitely move him, and they could definitely make the salaries work. No doubt about that. And then that would leave the Philadelphia Flyers around $8 million to give Swayman. Now, then who are they going to replace for the offense? They're going to need a younger guy to come in and try to replace at least somewhat of the offense that they've lost, because that's a big thing with the Flyers too. But the goaltending that they would get is going to be unbelievable. Like, right, I'm telling you, just doing two things: keeping the puck out of your net and putting the puck in the other guy's net is, it's one of the most important things that you literally can do. Like, do you think the Philadelphia Flyers with a Swayman on their roster could make the playoffs? I mean, I do. Absolutely. I'm telling you, a lot of people will say it makes a lot of sense to build from the net out. And that is true, right? We've seen this with the Leafs, where they have some talented goalies, but they don't have those elite guys. And I'm telling you, getting one of those elite guys is very difficult. And do you think that Jeremy Swayman is one of those elite guys? I do. I mean, he's put up really, really, really good numbers, even with a defensive club like the Boston Bruins. So then, yes, absolutely I do. Anyways, I'm going to leave this trade rumor video there. Why don't you guys tell me what you think? Drop it in the comment, like, subscribe, tell me why I'm wrong, tell me why I'm right, and I would really appreciate that. Have a great day, guys, and goodbye.